And you know, if you have assets and you can borrow against them at low rates, you know, your inflation of assets went up asymmetrically relative to, you know, the wage growth. And I think the next generation is really feeling that, and they're being like, dude, how did we get here? You know, I can't even buy a house. How am I, you know, able to have children if I can't even afford any of this stuff? And, you know, luckily I'm a little bit older, and I got lucky when rates were low, and I was on the front end of like the Gen X millennial. But the next generation is really freaking hard to catch up here when, you know, the inflation's so bad. So I think what the policy really is with Powell is now, like, we're going to make the next generation, you know, implicitly, we're going to put, you know, the next generation, whatever they own, they're going to start getting, you know, relatively wealthier at a higher clip than the boomer assets. And that's pretty much where you have to put your money at this point. And if they, the irony of the whole thing is, if they ever are hawkish and they're ever like, oh my God, inflation's getting bad, the bottom is going to fall out of the bond market. So that's why I effectively call it a Ponzi scheme. Like, they can't taper it. They'll never be able to taper it, because you need to have just growth rates in other parts of the economy go like wildfire to pay for all the debts. Because you can't have the growth rates in real estate that you utilize to run the economy or the government anymore, because you can't tax them at the same rate. So they're just going to run it hot, and that's the new policy here.
Yeah, it was back to the 60s or 50s where, you know, if people bought the war bonds, they basically lost 70% of, or a ridiculous amount of the actual sort of value of that over the next 20 years. And it seems like that, as you mentioned there with Vanguard, 70% ownership, that they're recommending that in sort of bonds. They're probably going to do that as well with maybe the older, wealthier generation.